Jewellery, oh boy, it is a magical thing. I watched Kellyanne Maddox's recent video and I really wanted to share in a VR response to her my own jewellery collection, which I didn't realise up until thinking about it, just how much I use it in a spiritual walk. It holds story, it holds protection magic, it allows me to put on different glamours. Now, the bracelets that I'm wearing, these sort of leather bracelets, are really a good way of illustrating this. These were bought after I became single. There are 3 stars representing my children. There's a treble clef on there because my ex-husband was a musician, but he never allowed me to have music. These bracelets not only were a way of claiming back my power and protection for me and the kids, but I also wore them through my entire divorce process and 10 court visits. They calmed my nerves, they protected me, just like this crystal bracelet as well. They gave me something to fiddle with in court and to keep calm. If these bracelets were a tarot card, they would be the King of Swords. It allowed me to keep emotionally level, to keep emotion out of court hearings and just to sit very calmly within facts, no matter what was thrown at me. And these bracelets I put on specifically to allow me to embody the King of Swords energy, which is so far away from my over-emotional, empathic Sagittarius soul. So if any bracelet ever taught me about the power held within jewellery, it's these bracelets. So yeah, and these were used even before I stepped onto this spiritual path or declared myself a witch. So the power of jewellery. A lot of my jewellery does look almost like armour, like this piece here. Armour for magpies, perhaps we could call it. And I think the material comes into play here, the metal and the size of these necklaces. I've realised that protection magic element is held within this style. In fact, filming this video, I've realised that it's my necklaces that I actually use more than any other piece of jewellery to hold that meaning and that intent. So these are put on not only for protection, but also almost like a state management, to change state, to bring strength into the mix, to embody that warrior spirit, or to claim a different glamour, as it were. I mean, look at this piece. If any jewellery choker, when you put it on and clipped it shut, gave you a different feeling, then it's that one. And this one has got sound in it as well, which is bells. I mean, there's protection right there. So it's sound, it's the feel of it, it's the size, it's the shape, it's the material it's made of. And I think that's the beauty of jewellery. It presents you with so many different aspects, shape and colour and material, that you can let your intuition, for what it means, just tell you whatever you need. Like this piece that I found at my daughter's summer fair, which is a really long chain, double-sided glass triangle, and I adore it. Now, most of this jewellery is found secondhand. Like this piece was found for a few pounds, but look at it. It is literally armour, but it's armour with feathers. And I realised doing this video that feathers are also an important part of my jewellery collection, because the goddess I work with is the Morrigan, who's linked with the crow, and I use these necklaces as part of my deity practice. that this little one is a Harry Potter spell on there, but it's still got the feather on. This piece I adore. This was bought by one of my best friends for me from a little shop on Etsy. And you can see it's the crow, it's the Morrigan crow. It's actually a brooch. Now, brooches I adore, but I do find brooches hard to wear. So I have just tied a piece of leather to it, and I do wear this as a necklace now, and I just love it. So the very act of tying that on is literally walking with deity for me. This was a piece I bought in London at a tattoo convention, which I completely adore. I found it on a stand where a woman was making alternative clothes and jewellery, and this was one of her pieces. And this was bought purely as to be part of my walk with deity. And I just love it. There's no way that I can put that on and not have begun an intention to walk very consciously with deity. And again, we've got more imagery here of birds now. This was bought virtually immediately after my divorce was finalised, and I got away from some really vicious toxicity. And you can see you've got the bird outside of the cage. So the intent of putting this necklace on is to remind myself of freedom. And then there's this sort of shell necklace. Now these make me feel connected with my grandmothers. There's just something about shell and mother of pearl. One of my grandmothers used to always wear mother of pearl, and these sort of more sort of shiny pieces as well. You've got ancestral work coming in there. So the aesthetic features of jewellery come into the meaning that you equate with it. Look at this one. This is why I think beads are really witchy. You can literally equate a meaning to each bead based on its shape or its colour or its pattern. It can be used in meditation, in mantras. Of course, you've got the rosary, haven't you? That links to that. But other features like this one, this is mosaic jewellery. When I wear this one, I think about the power in being broken and surviving it, and how strong you come out the other side. They say the wounds are where the light gets in, and it's true. And then I've picked this one up. This is like shell and wood, but any jewellery for me that's brown, the colour brown, it is so damn witchy. Wooden jewellery, brown shell jewellery. So you've got colours, you've got shape, you've got textures, you've got the material the jewellery is made from. It all comes into play. Like this one, not only have you got the witchy beads again, but we've got circles on this. And for me, the circle is an incredibly important shape. Here's another one with circles on as well. Now, for me, the circle reminds me to hold on. If you're in a bad place, hold on to the circle. It rolls round. Magic always rolls round. It's why I have a circle tattoo on my wrist. Circles for me are hope. And I often wear these two together, and when I place them over my head, it's hope I'm wearing. Now this piece, the vintage glass in this piece, reminds me of healing, because my witchcraft practice was the way I healed after trauma. You've got the green beads for the woodland and the garden, you've got the blue beads for the beach, and it almost looks like an ocean wave. This is my witchcraft practice in a necklace. And this necklace, I love the colour and the shape of this. This reminds me to give myself what I need. It's like one of those paper strips where you take what you need, pull off a kiss or pull off a hug. It's one of those. Now, comfort jewellery can be found in crochet for me, plus also protective crystals on there. I think to feel like it's almost like a hug from a grandma, a crochet necklace, soft and grounding and comforting. I've had this necklace a long time and it always feels like a warm hug. Now this one, not only is this piece really beautiful, but it reminds me of casting a circle. You've got the 4 points hidden underneath a flower circle. It's the elements, it's the north, south, east and west. This is elemental magic in a piece. Plus it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, and this piece, I cried when I found this piece. It's the velvet threaded through the metal that gets me, plus the diamante on it. This felt like my soul after trauma. I couldn't believe I'd had to wear armour for so long and yet came out of it with my heart intact, still willing to love people with everything in me. And it just summed up how I felt about myself. The fact that I couldn't believe that I'd survived it and still had that softness of velvet within me. And here we've got wooden jewellery. Like I said, wooden jewellery for me is so damn witchy. It's got the power literally of the woods within it, as does this piece. It's beads, wooden beads. I mean, it doesn't get any more witchy for me than that. I think the intent that you can put into a beaded necklace is just never ending. And this piece, I love this piece too. It's the contrast of the chain with the wood on this piece. I think the imagery of chains and what are we chained to? What are we free from? What intent are we chaining to ourselves? It's all there in jewellery to use. But jewellery for me is also a vessel to hold memory, to hold a memory story. Like this piece, this has got a Tinkerbell on it, and I have so many beautiful memories of watching Tinkerbell movies with Poppy over and over and over again. And that necklace holds that story. It's like a vessel. This piece, I was photographed in this piece as a young 30-year-old, having just had an exhibition, and the excitement of that time. I just bought my own house. I was very in love. I was young, and it's kind of held within these purple beads. So it's like a memory holder, like a cup or a vessel to hold that story of a life. Now, there's a few necklaces like this that I own that have a very significant story. The Christmas that I was getting divorced, my husband actually came back for a few months, and it was over Christmas before I realised I'd made a huge mistake. And I hosted people for Christmas that year, and my family came round, my then best friend came round, and it was horrendous. I kind of was shell-shocked anyway the time I was at, but I brought all the women that came round jewellery pieces, and this was one of them. And I brought them because I'd seen them at the shops, and I was so aghast at how beautiful these pieces were, and I so wanted them for myself. But for me, a good gift is to find something beautiful that you love so much you want it yourself, but to gift it away. So I bought a few necklaces for the women, and they opened them and trashed them and used them as a portal to start trashing me and say how ridiculous I was, and my taste was terrible, and it was just a joke. And upon leaving the house, with me kind of a bit shell-shocked from it all because it went on all day, I pointed out that they'd left their gifts on the table, and they all roared with laughter as they left, saying, "Why would we want to take them? They're disgusting." Now, looking back, I can see that was the type of toxic people I was surrounded by. And I got to keep the jewellery. And it's almost like the beauty stayed with me. I mean, look at these pieces. They are so gorgeous. And I looked at them after my life changed and a gentler, kinder circle of people were around me. And I looked at these pieces and thought, I get to keep them. I literally get to keep the beauty. And it reminds me of like sieving for gold nuggets. The dirt kind of drains away and you get left with the treasure. That's the story that these necklaces whisper in my ear when I put them on. They whisper, you're unique, you can appreciate beauty, you can sparkle. You couldn't do it in a mud pit, but the mud has now left. And look at them, they sparkle and I love them. So a holder of stories and also a celebration of stories, a celebration of healing. A lot of these pieces, like this one, which reminds me of the chakras and chakra healing, are literally a celebration of healing or a reminder of healing or a intent to heal. Like this one, this is worn when I want to remind myself to be playful. It's one of the pieces that I've nabbed off the kids as they've got too old for them. I wear them. And these pieces as well. Now this long chain is actually a watch and I wear these two together. This is a reminder of the nights I would lie on the bed surrounded by the kids reading them Harry Potter. These are Harry Potter necklaces and they are precious because they remind me of a precious time with the moon, with my 3 kids protected by the moon. That's the symbols within this one. And yeah, it's literally a lifetime story held within them. And here, more witchy beads. If you want to start using jewellery within your witchcraft practice, then beads are the way to go, especially painted beads. Not only have you got the colours and the shapes and the sizes, but you've got pictures painted on them, and it's just a lovely way to go. And again, this animal necklace just is pure woodlands to me and makes me just feel really connected to my practice when I wear it. I can't explain it, it just does. Now, for healing work as well, I have quite a collection of heart-shaped jewellery. It's really strange to me that being treated cruelly and very publicly treated that way as well, and surviving trauma and coming out the other side was a big self-esteem builder for me. I know that sounds odd, but it made me realise that in contrast to some of the people that really bashed and battered and broke my heart, that my heart is really quite good and kind and loving. And it made me just start wearing hearts, just to remind myself to cut myself some slack, to throw some self-love my way, to not give myself such a hard time, because you know, I'm kind of okay because I love people and I'm kind. And all of these heart pieces, especially this one, look, with the single bird, not 2 lovebirds on this. This one I bought when I was very first single. I just loved the imagery. You'd got the single bird sat within the heart. And yeah, it just reminded me that your heart loved and that truth was on my side from day one. So I suppose in this way, jewellery can be our signposts in life, our rites of passage, our markers from one stage to another. And then we've got butterflies as well. Butterflies is another motif I go to. That idea of transformation, of coming out and through, being changed by something, of transforming, but to see the beauty within it. And I love a piece with a butterfly on for just that reason. If alchemy is in your magical plans, then butterfly pieces are just perfect. And then there are pieces that hold a spirit of place, Genius Loci. This piece was bought in Glastonbury, and for me the power of Glastonbury is held within it, as this one also. This is a necklace of the Chalice Well, and it was gifted to me and I love it. It's really, really special to me. And this piece to do with lace, this is like a metallic lace. For me, lace is about embracing the magic within a void. I did a whole art series called Becoming Lace, which is about realising that many things are made beautiful by the holes made in them. Oh, and this necklace, I think we may have found our first decluttering piece. This was brought to me by an ex, and I'm not sure about the sentiment on this necklace. It says you are enough. And I don't think I want to be somebody's enough. I want to be somebody's more than enough, brimming over enough, their passion, their fun, their adventure. You are enough doesn't cut it for my witchy soul. About 10 months later, he brought me another piece of jewellery which I've actually done spells with. It's this badge. I think his sentiment changed. I think he decided that I was not enough, that I was too much, too loud, too questioning. Boundaries are always too difficult for those wanting to ignore them. So I keep the Bloody Difficult Woman badge for spells, and there are other jewellery pieces that I own that also come into spellcraft, like this vintage whistle necklace, which actually blows. So if you've got headphones, beware. Cool, isn't it? For calling in intentions. And huge beads, vitally important for spell work. Now, if you wonder whether jewellery really can hold the power of magic and intent and spell work and glamour magic, and can something like jewellery really hold that power? Well, think about the pieces that we more readily see in our society. Things like the crucifix, the crosses, and wedding rings or rosary pieces. These are more traditional pieces that just show that the symbolism held within jewellery is strong and means a lot. Now, I own a few crosses because I was a Christian for about 10 years. And if you look at my crosses, then it shows my path really. And can we just note that I always end up with one knot in my necklaces? I've stopped trying to unpick them because I think it must have a meaning. But when I look at my crosses, it makes me smile, because it shows an evolution from trying to be small to fit in to finally accepting that that bigger power is found in many different ways. I love that cross necklace with lots and lots and lots of crosses on. That's where I came to stand in my belief system, that there wasn't just one way, there were many ways to that universal power, which in turn led me to these giant beads, which for me symbolise that power coming in many different ways. These beads make my soul happy, especially this painted bead necklace. The 80s vibes in this are so strong. And of course, I hold them all within their very own cauldron, a great big glass vase that just holds them all, and I just love them. It's like a cauldron of magic. And look at this necklace as well. This is about holding boundaries, knowing where you end and somebody else begins, each bead separated by a boundary. I love that necklace. In it goes with the rest of the magic. And as I've sorted through my jewellery and repositioned them back up on this mirror in categories, it has crossed my mind that my jewellery is stored on altars, which just makes me smile. The other side of my bedroom is this bureau, which I've turned into my spell crafting bureau, and there's lots and lots of oils and little witchy knickknacks that I use for different things, and candles and salt on either side. But in the cupboard underneath, look, jewellery. There's the cauldron full of beads, and there's a basket full of Frida flowers. We're invoking Frida Kahlo. There's some really old jewellery boxes. This one's falling apart. There's a little straw box. There's some sunglasses in that tin. And over on my bedside cabinet as well, which I also have tarot on, there are some more chains off my lamp. These are all the really delicate little pieces that are hard to unknot if they get tangled. Again, like all the other jewellery, these smaller chains hold memory, they hold story, they're a vessel. Their surface features and aesthetic properties have a symbolic meaning, and I can put intent into those features. They are protective talismans, and they are just pure magic. So here you can see where my rings are kept, and some crystal jewellery that's really special to me, dolls holding them in a spell formation. And my intent when I started filming was to do the same with all of these boxes, to go through my bracelets, my brooches, my hair slides, numerology within jewellery, also my earring collection. But I can see now that this video could just go on and on and on, and it's already quite long. So these magical pieces, if you did want me to go through these, I could always do a Bejeweled Witchcraft part 2. So let me know, and thank you so much for watching me share these treasures that hold the story of a lifetime, symbolism, memory, intent, protection, affirmations, healing, and my spiritual path. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.